Oh, welcome in, everybody, to Amalgamation Nation, the AM Nation pod, your home for gaming, sports, anime news, and more. I had a brain fart when I was getting into that. I was like, I can't read. But yes, that's what your source for, and so much more as well. Of course, I am the anime watching, booze cruising, booty knife gang repping, John Cena's bestie, Shaq Daddy himself, Ryan Green Machine Ebner. This is going to be a gaming episode. We got a lot of gaming news to get into, as well as it is the 250th episode of the AM Nation pod. So shout out to that. That's pretty cool. And so as we've been doing things, so as always, you can find the show on different various media apps and shit, but the main ones you listen to are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and then YouTube now. So as I was going through, and as we've been doing the YouTubes again, I'm going through and I'm looking at like kind of like the numbers, right? So the sport episodes, right, do better on podcast services, whereas the gaming episodes do so much better on YouTube. So moving forward, the sport episodes will stay on Spotify, Apple Podcast, all of those. The gaming episodes will go on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. It also helps with us trying to get, like, you know, whether it's getting keys to do reviews for video games and stuff. If you keep the YouTube page strictly to gaming for the most part, I think it will help us out there. So if you're looking for sport episodes, you will find them on podcast services such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search Amalgamation Nation. Also, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at AMNationPod. Hit the follow button on all of those as well to find out what we're doing. The intro music is from Taicho, Beardo. You can find his link to his SoundCloud in the episode description, or you can just search Taicho Beardo on Spotify, SoundCloud, and various other platforms. If you're listening on Spotify, what's up? You can subscribe to the show for $5 a month to help support the show. Just click the link at the top of the episode, or at the top of the show description. Merch link is also in the bio on the podcast apps as well. You click that, you can go get yourself some sweet AM Nation and Undead Black Bull merch. Speaking of the Undead Black Bull, twitch.tv/Undead Black Bull is where you find David when he gets back to streaming. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can give him a free sub a month because you get one for being an Amazon Prime member, so that's pretty cool. And if you're playing Fortnite, maybe your kid's playing Fortnite, your siblings, whatever, you can use the code, content creator code, AMNationPod, and every little bit you buy on V-Bucks and stuff like that, we get a little bit of kickback at no extra cost to you. Dragon Ball Z events going on, which we're going to get into and stuff more in the episode. So while you're buying that Goku skin, make sure you use the code AMNationPod. I did. You should too. All right, we got a lot of gaming news to get into, but first and foremost, joining me today from North Carolina, the 2021 AM Nation Pod Fantasy Football Champion, Brendan B.K. Kennerly. How are you, sir? What you been playing? What you been watching?
Been playing more Cyberpunk 2077, just, slowly working my way through the story mode on that whenever I get chances. Been watching The Sandman on Netflix. The wife and I are really liking that. We both enjoy that. We watched the first episode of She-Hulk yesterday on Disney Plus, and I liked it, and the wife not so much. What I was telling you in the pre-show is because I think it's just, this has been a long phase for Marvel, as in there's just a lot of content in it, and I think it was kind of beating her up a little bit, which I get. It was just a little too much, which I can understand. As someone who she kind of puts up with the nerd culture, she does like it, but she's just, it's not her thing. And then lastly, we'll definitely be watching House of the Dragon tomorrow on HBO. Oh, show. Ain't missing it.
I'm really torn on whether I'm gonna watch it or not. I think I will because I want to see it, but I don't know, dude. I don't know. With the Marvel comment, I do think I see where that's coming from, where it's it has been a lot of content, and you know what the problem is too is I don't know how much of it I actually need to watch. I have no idea. I have no idea like how much of this is gonna matter when we get to the end games of these phases. Like, how much does it matter? Did I have to watch She-Hulk? Did I have to watch Moon Knight? I don't know. Will I watch it? Absolutely, dude. I will. But those are things that kind of get me, like Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, how much is that going to matter at the end of the day? I don't know, dude. I don't know if it matters at all. Was it just the end of Thor and that's why I had to watch it? Was it me leading to more? I don't know, dude. I literally don't know. So that's a good point. Usually it's like before I was like, oh, dude, I have to see every movie because I know they all lead to this, and I don't know if they do anymore. So that's a good point. Good point.
Well, and the I guess you say like the waters got muddied with the TV shows, which we were like, I mean, they're cool, but it's a lot more. It's more of a more hours that you have to buy in to commit to, essentially. Because yeah, like a movie, they're all about 2 hours long. Around maybe some are like closer to an hour and a half. But so like, but we'll average out like 2 hours now. And I have complained about the Marvel seasons being short because they're what, like 6 to 8 episodes, but they're still like darn near hour long episodes. So it's more time out of your day that you have to commit towards watching that, instead of like, oh, if they did like a Moon Knight origin movie, it's 2 hours instead of like all the episodes. It's just more content. I understand why they did that, because they're not sure if the box office returns, especially now. With that one, like with the world's second biggest theater chain just
Regal
declared bankruptcy. Yeah, so that's probably why they start shifting towards these shows. But it's more eyeball time, and so like, and that does stack up, and it will get to a point where it's like, okay, it's getting a little overwhelming at this point. Which like I'm even starting to like feel this way, because like I was like, oh man, She-Hulk's out, like not that I was like, oh man, like gotta watch it, or bummed that I have to watch it. I was like, oh well, no, like I want to watch Jennifer Walters and all that. But at the same time, I was like, well, dang, like I feel like I just finished Miss Marvel the other day, and then it's like after She-Hulk, we'll have like the decent break until Wakanda Forever. Hopefully that's good. But there was something nice about only 2 movies coming out a year, and that's all you had to like worry about. Like it was really nice. Like I said, it was a big like event. Like, all right, like you circled it on your calendar, you knew it was coming. But now it's like there's so much stuff in between where you're like, oh boy.
Absolutely. Let's see. Watching wise, I haven't really been watching a whole ton because it snuck up on me. I did not think August would be a month for me to play a lot of video games. I literally was sitting here like, I don't know when I'm going to play a video game again. Maybe Pokemon? I don't know. But it stuck up on me with Multiversus. I've been playing that a lot still as Season 1 came out. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show. But playing a lot of that. That's been fun. Fortnite, obviously, because Dragon Ball Super event is going on right now. So I had to dive into that. Cold to the Lamb, dude. What a fucking game. I can't wait to talk about this more when we go over the critic scores. But like, man, that game is a blast. I hope everybody goes and gives it a try. No, it's not on Game Pass right now, but like, you should still try that game. I think it's like $25. It's really fun. I've enjoyed that a lot. And let's see, what else did I play? Oh, and Madden 23 came out, like, where you get your 10-hour free trial with Game Pass and EA Play or whatever. So I've been trying that out, which we'll get into a little bit more depth as well. But that's been fun too. So like, I was not expecting these last week or two to be so jam-packed with video games for me. I was assuming I could just keep watching Bleach, keep watching One Piece, maybe jump into like watching that Prey movie, something. I just haven't had time. So games jumped back in, and I didn't think video games would, but they did. Good on them. Let's get into the news. Tyranitar will arrive, or it has arrived, on Pokemon Unite this last week here on August 15th. So you can get on Pokemon Unite, try out Tyranitar. It's part of that 1-year anniversary special. Pretty cool. I have not used T-Tar yet. I think I used Buzzwole last time we were on, because I talked about using Buzzwole. He was pretty cool. So I would like to jump on and try T-Tar. That'd be cool too. Also, Pokemon I think this Sunday, so tomorrow, the 21st, they're going to show off more Scarlet and Violet, from what I heard, because the World Masters are going on right now. I'm hearing Pokemon's going to show off more, just like they actually finished that tease. If you go back and listen to our last episode, we talk about the Pokemon event, Pokemon Direct, and we talk about Red being at the top of the mountain. And I was like, damn, dude, because that's super cool, because I think it's from Gold and Silver. That's a scene that you see. That's actually where that is from. And I was like, oh, dude, nice. And they just kind of tease it because it's just for Pokemon Masters. And I was like, oh, I don't even play that game. I've heard it's better now, but like I don't play that game. And then they teased it again, this time showing Ash and Pikachu are the ones running to the top of the mountain to face off against Red and Pikachu. And showing off that Ash and Pikachu will be joining Pokemon Masters EX as well through October. So that's really cool. Found out BK not nearly as big of a Pokemon nerd as I thought, because he did not understand why that was fucking cool at all. So the rest of you hardcore Pokemon fans, you fucking get it. Really cool. Really cool. I also found out too, BK, fun fact, as I caught myself there, my dad does an over-under on how many times I swear during a show. And to be honest, I, in the middle of doing these shows, don't realize that I'm doing it as often as I do. He only listens to the sport ones, but like, I guess I put the over-under on the last one at 11. I smashed it, BK. I was at 28 at the end of the episode.
28.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, wow, yikes. And my dad's girlfriend was like, yeah, you shouldn't. Your dad said you shouldn't be gambling too much because you're really bad, these over-unders. I'm like, oh, apparently, man. Apparently.
Has
White
he
Sox.
broken down your average curse per podcast? And all
I don't
that
think
stuff
he
like that?
has. I don't think he has, but I
Or
like.
if he has, he won't tell you. Because
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I'm like, I gotta like rein myself in while I do that. I forget. But anyways, yeah, the Pokemon.
I don't help. I just encourage it.
Yeah, you do, especially when I'm talking about the White Sox, man. There's nothing I can do about it. But with Red and Ash, this is really cool for people that are fans of Pokemon manga, and Ash is loosely based off of Red. However, for a lot of Pokemon fans, Red was always way cooler. His team was way cooler. Like he has a Mewtwo on his team. Like Red's way cooler, dude. But Ash was supposed to be kind of based around that, but he's more kind of kid. He's based off more like a kiddie side of Red. Just kind of like how Gary's supposed to be based around Blue, except Gary comes off more douchey than Blue does. So a little bit of things like that. But this is a really cool thing for Pokemon fans. So I'm really excited for that. And like I said, we'll see you tomorrow what Scarlet and Violet's all about. I don't know. We'll see. Fingers crossed, more good news.
Yeah, you're a nerd.
Oh, dude. Especially when it comes to Pokemon. Absolutely,
Big
dude.
nerd.
Big Poke nerd, dude. Shout out.
I could feel the disappointment via text message when I texted. I was like, what's the big deal about this?
I was mad, dude. I was like, what is this guy talking about?
I could feel the oof travel many miles to my location.
Oh yeah, dude.
And it was like, oof, oof, oof.
It's like telling your dad like you didn't want it. It'd be like if you told your dad, I'm not an Orioles fan, dude. Your dad probably be really disappointed in you at small age. He'd be like, wow, this kid sucks.
That's why my kid's not getting a choice.
See? Exactly. That's just how it goes.
Not gonna have the whole P2 with his dad situation where his dad Bears fan, P2 is like, oh, Packers.
And now think about it. For the rest of his dad's life from that moment on, he always gets told, "Well, what happened to your son, man?" Every time, dude. You hear that?
Exactly.
And the reason I bring that up is because the same thing would happen with my grandpa, with my dad and my uncle, because they're Sox fans and he's a Cub fan, which is a little bit different because it's still Chicago, so it's like whatever. But they would always ask, like, "Dude, what happened?" And I don't want that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want to be in those weird situations like that. No, thank you.
No, absolutely not.
Also, cool news: Multiversus hit 10 million active players. That is so cool. Season 1 came out this past week on August 15th after people raged that it was delayed like a week. They raged. I was like, it's a free game, dude. Why are you mad? Just let them make sure it's good to go. I literally hate the internet, like social media. That's what makes me mad.
Social media is like the internet can do a lot of great things, but social media in general just brings out the worst in people. It is like terrible. And like people just feel so entitled in today's time, like especially like with games and just in content in general, like, oh, I am owed this, and it's just like, well, no, you're not. So it's just, I don't know, like just be better people, and like, yeah, like we're probably guilty of it as well, but like, it's probably a little the pot calling the kettle black. So, but like, you gotta look inward and you gotta try to be better. So, be better people.
Absolutely. Next week, or this coming week, for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members, we're going to get some free goodies from Multiversus, so that's pretty cool. Not only did that happen in Season 1, so we knew Rick and Morty were coming in Season 1 at some point. I think Morty's at the end of this month. They did not say when Rick's dropping yet, but they also announced 2 more characters are going to come this season. Black Adam, and I'm drawing a blank, but the bad guy from Gremlins. What's his name?
I forget it. It's not Gizmo, because that's the good one.
No, it's not Gizmo. Wow. I'm drawing a blank. That's rough. But yeah, that person from Gremlins is coming out too, which is really cool. I think this season runs all the way till November.
Is it Stripe?
Yep, I think it's Stripe. I think you're correct on that. So yeah, pretty cool. The tiers for the the beta were 15 tiers. Here it's 50. So I still think it was under $10 for the Game Pass, or for the Battle Pass to get it. The premium Battle Pass, not the free Battle Pass. Still pretty cool, dude. Honestly, this game's doing awesome. More news on it later, but this game's doing really good. So I'm super excited about it. I've enjoyed playing it. Some of the big changes that happened with, like Finn and Velma and Shaggy and Bugs getting reworked. LeBron got a little bit of a boost. Wonder Woman definitely got a boost with some of her new moves, so I like that too. This game's really fun though, man, and I enjoyed it. I love that it had a presence at EVO, the fighting competition. I love that it had that presence there, and they did a good job of marketing that. So shout out to them, man. I love it. I saw someone talking about how they don't like Multiversus, or they don't like, because basically Warner Brothers in general, because they're just trying to collaborate everything into one thing, and I'm like, that's how fighting games work like that, dude. Kind of how that works.
That's literally what Nintendo does. They're taking all characters from all different genres and throwing them together. Guess what? They do the same thing for Mario Kart. They take a bunch of different characters from a bunch of different genres, and they're like, oh, we're going to make a racing game.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's a media company, like, not a video game company, but like the media in sense of like Warner Bros., Warner Discovery, whatever they are, doing it, still cool, dude. Still cool. So, what else?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're... They've done a lot of things right, like what you said, and I think we've talked about this. The game being free was like, or like the was genius. It was actually super smart, because it's easier for people to buy in. Then you have like all the skins that you can tack on, but it was smart for them to do that, just because that not battle royale, like the beat 'em up fighting genre, that specific one, it's so dominated by Super Smash Bros. And you look at Nickelodeon All Stars that came out, I guess that was like a year and a half ago, like. And it wasn't reviewed poorly, but it just didn't have like the staying power. It just didn't have the kind of the extra chutzpah, whatever it was, a little thing to kind of hang around the collective conscious and still be played continually. But Multiversus seems like it's really like hit the ground running, and a lot of people are still talking about it, actively talking about it. You always see it pop up on social media. So. They've done a lot right, and I think I texted you this the other day, like when Black Adam was announced. I was like, oh wow! I was like, hey, like Warner's really pushing Black Adam hard, like harder than they ever did for the comics. Like that hasn't had a comic in forever, but like, hey, yeah, they're really gonna push him in this game and then the movie. And it's crazy that Black Adam will never even be in the Shazam universe, which doesn't even make any sense at all. So like. That's just in a whole bigger DCEU problem, which, do we even have that in the notes, that they're completely scrapping the DCEU?
No, we could jump into it. Might as well, right? It connects with Warner Brothers.
Yeah, they're just throwing that for everyone out there that doesn't know. They're completely scrapping the DCEU. Like, they're still probably going to come out with the Flash movie whenever. I don't know. Ezra Miller is actually getting treatment now, and if you don't know, Ezra Miller was, like, on the run across the United States with, like, with some girls and some daughters and moms, and was heavily armed, and everyone was doing a lot of drugs. But he's turned himself over and he's getting help, so that's good. And Ezra Miller is the star of The Flash, so he is the titular Flash character. So that's been kind of a ongoing issue, to put it lightly. And then you had the whole Batgirl. The movie was filmed Michael Keaton was in the movie. Like, Michael Keaton's a big name, and they just completely scrapped it. Like, it was filmed. It was, you just kind of have to edit it and then release it. But it's not going to see the light of day as of now, unless there's a whole Snyderverse cut awakening, dawning for it, clamoring. So yeah, the DCU's gonna be completely scrapped, and so all of it's gonna kind of be reset and kind of try to be done over again. So yeah, how does that make you feel as a big DC guy?
Oh, it bugs me. I mean, a little bit. I mean, the problem is that the DCU immediately jumped out of the gate and wanted to be the MCU so bad, but they just could not. They just stumbled the whole way. You know what I mean? Like, there's constantly tripping up and falling down and trying to get back up and figure it out. Like, this recent Suicide Squad movie might be one of the best projects they've done. Honestly, it's probably one of the top 5 projects they've done for me. When it comes to the DCEU, it was so good with James Gunn. Okay, then you take Peacemaker. Awesome, dude. What a great show. John Cena. Fantastic job, dude. My bestie. Awesome.
Eagly.
Yeah, Eagly. Fantastic. Okay. And then you take The Batman with Robert Pattinson. What a great movie. What an awesome movie. I'm like, this is great. I do know they are still doing Colin Farrell's spin-off show as the Penguin. So, like, that's still around. The second Batman movie with Robert Pattinson still supposed to be a thing. We know Black Adam's a thing because The Rock's like, I am going to get this out one way or another. Now, what I find interesting, because I'm like very pessimistic about that movie, like extremely. But from what I've been hearing from people that saw early filming of it, early footage of it, they loved it. It was awesome. It's like the DCEU is like starting to get a traction finally after all this time. And they're just like, yeah, but we don't know what we're doing with it. We have no fucking... all of it, dude. It's all scrambled. None of it's coherent. It's like how I feel about this phase of Marvel. There's no coherency to it except for a few things. A few things connect in a way that I'm like, oh, I get it. But the rest of the projects, I'm like, I like these, but I don't know what we're doing with them. I don't know what they mean. The Batgirl thing, that makes me really mad. That bums me out because I was honestly really excited. We were getting Supergirl in it, and then Michael Keaton Batman. Michael Keaton Batman, for me, not one of my favorites. I don't really care for him. However, I understand the importance of him. But he was like, I saw the footage of him wearing the actual suit, and I was just like, oh, man, that's so cool. And we're going to be robbed of that. And that really sucks. Snyder... I don't know. I don't know if Zack Snyder should have been in charge. It felt like that was what they wanted to do, was just like, all right, this guy here, he's going to run the DCEU, and then it just didn't work. Like, there was discrepancies between the two parties, and I don't know, man. Obviously, we heard the rumors that there was 3 options that they were looking at to release this Flash movie. Looks like they went with option 1, which was Ezra Miller just basically, coming out and saying, I'm sorry, and he's got mental problems, and he's dealing with that, so they could still push this movie out, because I was just like, there's no way they don't release this. If they do not release this movie, and I'm robbed of Michael Keaton twice now, returning as Batman, the rage, you know what I mean? I'm so interested, though, on what this means, right? Because then they sold off some of the CW. So, like, The Flash is coming to an end with this recent season. That's done. The rest of the Arrowverse shows are pretty much all done. So, like, what do they do? Warner Brothers is in a weird spot where, they're merging with Discovery. And if we've heard, like, scripted shows from HBO Max aren't really going to be a thing anymore. That kind of sucks.
That's weird.
Because it's like, that's what I enjoy. Well, they're going to stick with HBO, but they're not HBO Max. It's a really weird thing.
It's so dumb.
I honestly wish somebody just bought Warner Brothers. And just, like Apple. Let Apple buy them, dude. And I feel like Apple could figure it out. they'd be like, all right, this is where we're making our money. Like, because I'm sorry, I have Discovery Plus. I enjoy Discovery Plus. But you know what I watch on Discovery Plus, dude? I watch crime shows. I watch a lot of Food Network shit. That is what I watch, dude. Now, Caitlin, on the other hand, she watches like 90 Day Fiance and all that stuff. That's what that's there for, dude. House flippers and everything. You can keep all that stuff, dude. But why would you get rid of like things like HBO, like the you know, whether it's Succession or Oz or all these other great shows, Game of Thrones, like all these great shows that make HBO so special. Like, I honestly, HBO Max is one of like my favorite platforms currently. Like, I love it. There's so much content on there for everybody.
Oh, yeah. All the South Park and stuff too.
Yeah, dude. Like, there's so much. I'm like, I honestly, like, at times I find myself going to that way more than I do Netflix. So, like, recently. So, it's just such a weird situation Warner Brothers is in, man. Such a weird situation.
I think all these streaming services are hitting kind of like hiccups like right now, maybe except for like, well, no, they actually all are. Yeah, like I'm just like, yeah. So like we know Netflix have had issues as a whole here. You know, they had the subscriber drop, and so like then they completely just got rid of like a bunch of like studios and creative personnel like working on like kid shows and just like shows in general. So like, all right, that's not good. And then Disney Plus / Hulu. Like they're just like, oh yeah, hey, we're gonna do like an ad tier, and then we're gonna do an ad-free tier, and oh yeah, the price is going up.
Which I think we all kind of assumed was gonna happen eventually.
Absolutely, like that's why I hated when Disney Plus first came out, like, and not hating Disney Plus as the platform because I loved it. I was like a day one subscriber.
Of course,
I was like, yep. I did the like 2 years in advance. I was like, I'll just pay you up front, like I'm gonna be using this.
Yeah.
But people were like, "Oh yeah, Disney Plus so much better than like Netflix. Look at the price and everything like that." And it was like, "All right, well, you realize they're doing that now."
They just want to get in your front door, dude. That's it.
Yeah, like that's all they're doing. They want you to put your card on file, and then when the price just goes up, you won't even know, like, because you probably won't be paying attention. Random person on the internet, that's an idiot. So they've had issues. I like in Paramount Plus, that was the one I was actually thinking of instead of HBO Max. Like I do actually like HBO Max. Like I remember when HBO first went to mobile phones and like
HBO Go or HBO Now or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it was either
depending
HBO
on your platform. It was either HBO Now or it was HBO Go. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching the second season of oh my gosh, what was that show? The first season had Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. It was
True Detective.
True Detective, yeah. It was one of the best seasons of TV I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah.
It is revelational. The second season, not so much the one with Vince Vaughn. Yeah, it was. I haven't watched season 3 yet. I've always wanted to with Mahershala Ali. I've always watched that. But so go back. Like Paramount Plus is like they've had some like ups and downs, like because like are people really watching it? Because there's a lot of good stuff on there. Like I said, South Park, and then you had Halo show, which was less than stellar. Then and part of that is you have all the Star Trek stuff on there, and like there's a lot of Trek heads, a lot of Trekkies,
dude. Yeah.
So that's a thing. All the streaming platforms are kind of having growing pains, I guess you could say. And like, I always rail against Peacock just because that platform just makes me so mad, and I have to watch it. I'll be watching it later today, and it's bound to piss me off at one point or another. But like, how many people are like actively like all their original shows? Like, I never hear people talking about any of the Peacock original shows. Like, not a single one.
Is Yellowstone Peacock technically, or was it Paramount? Because one of the seasons are on Peacock, but I think the actual show's from Paramount.
Yeah, and
that would be the only one.
And I think it wasn't Yellowstone like actually on like TV, like traditional TV originally,
Maybe.
And then like they moved it over. I know Colleen and I want to watch it. It's on our list
very good
to get to. Yeah, we want to, but it's like I think you're seeing a lot of growing pains with the streaming services right now, and just where everyone's trying to figure out like this new market, like because like for the longest time it was like, oh, you just had Netflix, and then like Hulu kind of came along, which was like NBC, CBS, and ABC originally like, oh well, we're gonna put like the the previous episodes in this season like on there, so like people, if they miss an episode, they can still catch up and then still watch live and don't feel bad. And so like, and it was that for years, and then all of a sudden like we had this big shakeup a few years ago, and it still seems that like the water is not steady. It is still rough waters. We're still trying to figure out how we're moving forward. All these companies are, and how we are as a viewing public. So it's definitely interesting, and I like how this like completely morphed from DCEU to like Warner to streaming service.
I know. I was gonna say, I'm like, see, it's like the beginning, dude. You come for gaming, anime, sports, and so much more. Also, too, one of my biggest things, my closing point on that is that when you talk about the streaming services right now and they're trying to like evolve and figure out where they're at in this marketplace, it's because you literally had a global pandemic 2 years ago, which you're still going through and feeling the aftermath from. You will never see those numbers like you did in 2020 because people aren't home like that now. So you're not going to see the growth and the increase in viewing like you did. Like, you're just not. Unless a shutdown ever occurred again. Like, that's why that happened. The same thing with video games. So I said I knew video game numbers for the next like decade, we're going to be looking at them going, oh, well, they're lower than they were. Well, that's why. So it's something to think about as well. And, yeah. Also, just let's wrap up Warner Brothers stuff here. Hogwarts Legacy was delayed to next February 10th, everybody. Haha, David. Dunzo.
Well, I mean, like, I'm excited for this game. I think you are too. I think I think most of us on the podcast are like, we think this is going to be a really enjoyable game. It just looks really cool, and we haven't had a Harry Potter game like this, like kind of open world RPG, just like we hadn't had an open world Pokemon game till earlier this year with Legends Arceus. So. But the beginning of next year is going to be Nuck and Futz. So, as you know, they said in Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. It's going to get... There's a lot of games that got pushed back into early next year, like February, March, April timeframe. There's going to be... I mean, it's not like single-A games. I mean, we're talking triple-A heavy hitters are going to be coming out, so just watch out.
Yeah, dude. Hold on tight. Fortnite finally unveiled the Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball Super collab. It began this past week here on August 16th, and as someone that's played it, I love every bit of it, dude. From doing the Kamehameha to flying Nimbus to being Goku and transforming between regular Goku, Super Saiyan, Blue Goku, and Ultra Instinct. It is so cool. Doing all the cool stuff for Dragon Ball. And also some of the extra little things they add in there. The area where you go to, you can just go to. It's a game mode, and you just watch Dragon Ball Super episodes with people. That's it. So awesome, dude. I love that Fortnite put so much into this. It's a whole 2-week event that they did where you can let you do Dragon Ball challenges, and as you do them, you earn your power level goes up, and if you get all of them, you get all the Dragon Balls, and you unlock Shenron as a flying, mount in the game. It's great, dude. Honestly, hats off to Fortnite again for just another great epic event. It's so cool. No pun intended on epic, but yeah, it's really cool. And also, while you're playing it, use AMNATIONPOD as your content creator code.
Yeah, I'm just I'm glad. It's crazy that it's you've seen all the screenshots and stuff like that where it's like this is a real game where it's got like Goku, Naruto, fucking Rick, and like Darth Vader, and then like, or it could be like LeBron James. It could be one of the World Cup soccer players. One of those skins. It could be John Wick. It could be any of the like 50
Batman, dude.
Marvel characters. Yeah, it could be Ariana Grande, and like all shooting each other up, shooting Kamehamehas. It's crazy, and I think you said it's probably the best collab game of all time.
There's no question. There's absolutely should be zero question to that.
Yeah, and it's and I told you, I was like, that's not even a hot take. That is just a fact. It is the collab mishmash, whatever game you want to call it. Like, it has brought so many different kinds of fans and fan bases together to play a game that has never really happened before. And I mean, if you would have asked BK, when this beta was still, because it was in beta at the time, was coming out, like, this game was fun. It was a cool battle royale with the building. It was different. It really stood out in the battle royale landscape.
Yeah.
That was still new. But if you would have told me then, like, oh yeah, like this game's gonna have like I said, Darth Vader and
Yeah.
Thanos and Goku and all this stuff, I probably would have said you're crazy, and it would be making just as much money now as it did then. I definitely would have called you doubly crazy. So it's just hats off to Epic. It's an insane run this game has had.
It keeps evolving. It keeps finding ways to make more money.
That's the crazy thing. And so like we've talked about like, Call of Duty, like in Call of Duty has
of course,
incredible staying power, but I think Fortnite's different just because I don't know which one's actually pulling in more money yearly. I would bet Fortnite, but I don't know that for sure. But I think it's just crazy. Fortnite's free.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And now because Xbox got rid of the whole needing Xbox Live Gold to play multiplayer games, you don't have that anymore. So there's not even that barrier anymore. Literally, Fortnite is the reason Epic was able to move into a new studio in North Carolina. Fortnite did that.
They moved into a mall.
Yeah, not the other stuff. Like Fortnite is what funds the Unreal Engine. That is mind blowing in its own right. So yeah, dude. Shout out to Fortnite, dude. Fantastic. AMNATIONPOD for your content creator code, everybody. Thank you. And real quick, also, the collabs don't stop coming and they don't stop dropping. Eminem is now on the Icon radio, so when you're driving around in a vehicle in Fortnite, you switch your radio station to Icon, it's playing nothing but Eminem. Essentially teasing yet another collaboration. Could be an Eminem maybe coming to Fortnite, guys. Dude.
So you gonna do a Kamehameha with Eminem?
Dude, some shady? Absolutely, dude. I Kamehameha to LeBron James the other day to win a match, and I enjoyed every bit of it, dude. I was like, I jumped up, I clicked it, I'm like, I got him, and I was just and I was so excited. I was like, get fucked, get shit on. It was a good time.
They should like come out with like Eminem, Dr. Dre,
Snoop. Yeah, dude. Bad Bunny.
Yeah,
what a great time.
That's crazy. But here are your video game releases from the past week or so. All the scores that we mentioned on here are going to be from Open Critic because we're not going to include that in each line item just because we've been doing that for a while now. So you should just know they're all going to come from Open Critic. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Madden NFL 23 released on everything but the Switch and sits at a 67. But Ryan, do you think this game's a little bit better than a 67?
It is. Now, as I was thinking about this as we were going through the show, the changes in that game are only for the next-gen console. So the Series X, Series S, and the PS5. Does that have something to do with the rating? Probably. The PC gets the poo-poo version, just like the, last gen gets the poo-poo version. But like I was telling David, dude, that game, like the quarterback, the throwing mechanics in that game are so good now. They're so much better. And the way that you have to, like, because I have a hard time with it. I keep throwing bullet passes, and I'm trying to change my throw, and I just fuck up. I just keep messing up. So I honestly really enjoy that about this game and that actual sense that it gives you. The physics of the game are probably the best it's been in years. Like, this is one of the first times I've played a Madden in recent, like, at least the last 5, where I'm like, oh, I actually enjoy this. Like, I like this. This isn't just like, oh, I like it because the football simulation is the only option I have. Like, no, this is actually a really fun football game again. Like, I am really, really happy with it. I also think, maybe that's where the negative feedback comes from, is people just playing it. They're like, oh, it's another football game. But, like, it is different. And even some of the franchise things some of the traits that they changed about it, they are different. Do I think it's perfect? No. But I do think it's a lot better than it was. I mean, I would have definitely at least set it at a 75. Like, at least. So that is interesting to me that it's so low. But like I said, it could be because only the, current gen gets the good version of the game, where PC and last gen get poo-poo versions of it.
So, the poo-poo version, that'll make me laugh. So yeah, we'll probably revisit this score next week, just because we were looking at the Open Critic, and there were only 7 critic reviews on this, which just seems odd for a Madden game that came out, even if it was just a day ago. It's It's weird. And we looked up the Madden reviews from the previous year. So it was actually sitting at the same score. Madden NFL 22 is at 67, but it had 50 critic reviews. So we'll probably revisit this score next week. So for everyone at home, if you're still undecided on it, just tune in next week and we'll see if the score updates for you. Next up, we have Thymesia released on everything a day before Madden and sits at a 70. Roller Dome released on Sony consoles and PC and sits at an 80. This game looked interesting. The art style was kind of a cell shaded like game, and literally like you're like roller skating, like the big jumps and everything like that, and shooting people. Oh no, it looked pretty cool from what I was seeing. Cult of the Lamb released just over a week ago on everything and sits at an 85. Ryan, what are your thoughts on Cult of the Lamb?
It's my game of the year. Like, it is so good. It is just... it is such a fun indie game, dude. Devolver Digital, again, put out a great game from Massive Monsters. Such a fun studio that put this game out. It's on a variety of platforms right now. I know I've seen a lot of people like, oh, I'd really like to try that on Game Pass. Listen, I'm sure it'll get there, but don't wait. Just pay the $25. Support Massive Monster and get this game. It is so fun. It is Animal Crossing meets a Hades type game, and it's, satanic. It's like a satanic Animal Crossing meets the Hades gameplay. It's so fun. I love it so much. As I'm building my cult, I am naming the different members after people of the podcast. So that's been really cool. And like, nice. Here I am, dude, doing my satanic preachings in the church, dude, getting more followers, having a great time. I love it, dude. This game is fantastic. It's so cute, it's adorable, but it's also really funny. And I enjoy this a lot. So I'm glad it's at an 85. But to me, like right now where I stand, it is my game of the year.
Nice.
And I honestly too, what I've enjoyed is seeing a lot of the other like major players when it comes to like game of the year voting and stuff, and seeing so many of their members being like, oh, you know what? Like, this is going to probably make my list. It might win my list. Like, yes, Elden Ring and what Elden Ring is awesome, but this is something so different and so fun that I just love it. And I'm like, oh, dude, I like to hear that. I want more recognition for indie games like this. So this is awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, don't wait for this to get on Game Pass. Look, I mean, Devolver Digital kind of like helps more of these, like you said, indie games, these single A games, like they get to the marketplace and kind of give them like the hype, to give them the advertising, to get their name out there. So very similar to Annapurna. So yeah, go ahead and support them if you are interested. Just pick this game up. Next up on the list, Arcade Paradise released on everything and sits at a 76. Lost in Play released on PC and the Switch. It sits at an 84. This is all hand-drawn animation, not in the same vein of like Cuphead where it's like super like old-timey, like 1910, 1920s animation. This is like more like modern, like hand-drawn animation. This looks really, really charming. It might look to pick that up on a sale one day. And then lastly, Rumbleverse, a battle royale released on all platforms that sits at a 74. And our thoughts on that is that Ryan tried to join a game and he couldn't, so then he gave up.
Yeah, too many other things happen. Like, I have it installed on Xbox, and I do want to try it because, again, when you create something like a battle royale and you're coming into that field, you gotta do something that makes you different. And them putting so much emphasis on wrestling, I think, is a really cool thing. That's why I was so excited to try it. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I will try. I will try again. I'll let you know what I think of it, because I've seen some people play it, and they said they're having a lot of fun.
Check it out. I mean, battle royales just aren't really my thing, so.
Right. Passed you by, dude. Passed you by.
Yeah.
If you were like 5 years younger, you would have been eating it up, dude.
I mean, like, if it was college time, BK, and these like battle royales would have came out, I would have been soaking them up. But like when I was in college, that's like when it was like when Call of Duty and Battlefield were in its like heyday, and so like in Gears of War and all that stuff. So that's what I did. I'm an old head.
Those are good times too, dude. Those are good times.
Yeah. Global warming wasn't as big of a thing.
Yeah, dude, didn't feel like your rights were being fucked, taken away. Crazy stuff, dude. Crazy times. Also, some video game news got some more drama going on as between Microsoft and Sony and all that stuff. Well, Microsoft accused during this whole thing we talked about last week, right, where the Brazilian government they actually release all the statements and stuff like that when these mergers are happening, like the arguments. So something else came out, Microsoft accusing Sony of paying developers to block their games from coming to Game Pass. And I don't think anybody cared about that. Like, everybody's like, well, yeah, that's pretty normal. Like, yeah, that's probably going to happen in this kind of competitive space.
It's absolutely normal. I was like, okay.
But what's so funny is this happens, but yet then PlayStation didn't block its own game from coming to Game Pass because Death Stranding is coming to the PC Game Pass this week. BK likes that game, guys. So get on it.
Yeah, look, if you like a nice story-driven game, that can be like a little frustrating. Like, but it's if you like open world story-driven games, you're gonna. I think people are really gonna like it. So I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Did you see?
I don't know if we'll ever get a sequel though, but.
Well, I don't know. I know Kojima's working on another project with Xbox for cloud gaming. We do know that. Your thoughts here, though, on the whole Sony paying to block games on Game Pass?
I'm not shocked. Like, I guess Microsoft accusing Sony is just, in this instance, it's like, kind of just like, duh?
Yeah.
I guess, like, that's, like, my main thought is, like, well, duh, yeah. Obviously, they're going to do that. Like, I don't see how that's necessarily like against the rules, like where you can be like, oh well, we don't want your game to go on to Game Pass. We want it to be like, still like just third party. We want people to actually have to purchase it on a Microsoft platform. Like, we'll just give you an extra 600,000 just to do that. Which, like, I don't know. Like, we'll see how that affects the competition rules and all that. But I think it's fine. I think that's a-okay.
Yeah, that's normal competition stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, Microsoft should they need to keep that in the back of their mind. It's just watch out. That's what they're gonna do.
100%. The Pokemon Company has pledged to donate $25 million to various charities to help children over the next 5 years. That is really awesome. So shout out to the Pokemon Company, dude. That's really cool. Indie game Squirrel with a Gun took the internet by storm this week. It reminds people of Goat Simulator and the Goose Game. Check out the trailer if you like those type of games. BK, did you see it?
Yeah, I thought this looks awesome.
It does.
It's so crazy. Like, you just see this little squirrel hop up and he's like acting all cute and the human's like, oh hey, and he just pulls out a gun and then takes the guy's cell phone and then shooting the gun to like get up like a flagpole, like it's like jumping, like getting higher and higher, and then like doing the platforming like abilities where it's like jump and then you shoot and do a flip and then you shoot like all the like little platforming elements. This looks ridiculous. It looks fun.
Absolutely. And to wrap up the show, we've got the top 10 best-selling games, or top 20, I'm sorry, best-selling games of July. BK, do you have a guess on what number one is?
For July. What came out in July? What big game? Any big games? I don't think so.
You had like Xenoblade Chronicle, Digimon Survive. What else is on there? Not too many.
Hating on either one of those games, like the Xenoblade games. Like, I did play the first one and I enjoyed it. I just don't. I can't sink in like 100 hours, like 150, 175 hours, and then there's still more. It's like, okay, that's like, that gives me some anxiety a little bit, honestly. That's a bit overwhelming. For July, I'll just guess something crazy. Minecraft.
All right, we'll see where it goes. All right, number 20, Monster Hunter Rise. Number 19, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. What a weird game to get in there. Number 18, Far Cry 6. Number 17, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 16, Nintendo Switch Sports. Number 15, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Number 14, Overwatch. Not Overwatch 2, Overwatch. Number 13, the 2020 AM Nation Pod Game of the Year, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Kick ass. Number 12, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 11, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. What a great game.
Shout out to Kirby.
Dude, kick
Staying
ass.
power there.
Hell yeah. Number 10, F1 2022. Number 9, Minecraft. Number 8, Digimon Survive. Interesting. Number 7, the GOAT of all Switch games, Mario Kart 8. Will never get touched, sadly. Number 6, MLB The Show 22. Number 5, top 5, here we go. Call of Duty Vanguard comes in at number 5. Yep. Number 4, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
That's higher than I thought. Good for Xenoblade. Like that seems like it's kind of at the forefront of the Nintendo properties now. Good for Xenoblade.
Good for them. Number 3, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Yeah. Number 2, Elden Ring.
Wow.
Which just hit recently just passed 16 million sales.
Yeah.
So good for them. And
Great
number 1, Multiversus.
Whoa. Okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah, dude. I was
Dang.
mind blown by that this morning when I saw it. I was like, no way.
How do you do that? Because isn't it free to play?
Yeah, but it
Or
sells the
like-
3 Founder Edition packs.
Ah.
So that means that they sold a shitload of those.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I do want to point out too, there's another game on here. Oh, Live Alive, however you say it, Square Enix's Switch exclusive of the 1990s JRPG, is actually number 8 on the Nintendo, number 8 on the Switch sales chart. It got close to number 20 total in video game sales charts, but that's interesting too, because that game's gotten a lot of really great reviews. But yeah, dude, Multiversus, absolutely insane. It's, you know, their beta launch had a peak of over 140,000 concurrent players. And then in the early August, the game, before it even left beta, it had passed 10 million player mark. The dollar sales were driven by the sales of the game's founder pack, which gives players access to character tickets, in-game currency, and other cosmetic items. So, yeah. Absolutely insane.
That's wow, that's impressive. That wowzers. Okay.
And I didn't even buy any of those packs, dude. I wasn't even a part of that. I kept thinking about it. Yeah, dude, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, I kind of want that $100 one. It kind of makes a lot of sense for everything you get. But I was like, nah, I don't want that. And then when I saw the numbers, I was like, that's insane, dude. That's insane.
Yeah, game's not going anywhere. So yeah, like it seems like Nintendo officially has some like real competition in the space now.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
And the thing is that, you know, we know from the last Super Smash, like, we ain't getting another one for a while. So, like, this is really going to be Multiversus is, like time to shine. You're not, I don't see any other, anyone else cropping up in the marketplace that's really going to compete. So, yeah, this is really Multiversus game to lose, essentially, at this point.
Absolutely. Anything else, BK, before we go?
No, I think that's it. I'm just like you, getting ready for the fall. You know, we're getting football now, and I will say, as someone, you know, I love pumpkin spice. You know, so does the wife. But you know, like getting the Oktoberfest beers here advertised like in August.
It's weird.
It's a little too soon. And went to Walmart the other day. Then I went to Dollar General. And I'm going down the aisles. I don't need to be advertised Halloween candy in August.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude. Let's get to September, please.
Exactly. September 1, like Labor Day weekend, I will open up the floodgates. I am perfectly fine with that. I accept it. I'm okay with it. But like August, no thank you. It's still summer. And honestly, it's still like pretty it can stay fairly warm here like in Halloween. Like there's been Halloweens where it's like in the 70s, like high 70s, like 80s, stuff like that. So it's like, okay, like it's still very like warm. Like our neighbors were talking about that, like, oh yeah, like it'll start cooling down by like Halloween. I was like, not every year.
Dude, I was at a grocery
Like,
store out here the other day, and I saw the Halloween candy. In my head, I'm like, "Oh, dude, we're gonna have to get some of that soon." And then as you mentioned, I'm like, "Wait, no, dude, it's August. I don't need that yet. What the hell?"
it's literally the end of October. It's not like the first weekend in October. It is the end of October that you need to get candy.
What a
And like, so
weird
like
thing.
you still have to go through another couple weeks here of August. Then you still have 4 weeks of September, and then guess you still have another like 3.5 weeks of October.
Absolutely, absolutely. What a weird thing. That wraps up for this episode, the 250th episode of Amalgamation Nation, the AM Nation Pod. As always, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at AMNationPod. Hit the follow button on all of those. If you're looking for the intro music, that is from Taicho Beardo. Click the link in the episode description to get to his SoundCloud, or search for him on SoundCloud and Spotify and other platforms. You can listen to us on podcast platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcast. If you're on Spotify, you can subscribe to the show for $5 a month to help support the show. We appreciate that very much. Also, listen to the show on YouTube. Just search Amalgamation Nation on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button as always, and give us a like, all that good stuff. We appreciate that too. The merch link is in the episode description as well. Get yourself some sweet AM Nation and Undead Black Bull merch. Twitch.tv/Undead Black Bull is where you find David streaming. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch gaming sub a month, so give it to Undead Black Bull. And of course, if you're playing Fortnite or any of the cool stuff on Epic Games, make sure you use the content creator code AMNationPod to help support the show at no additional cost to you. So we appreciate that as well. Until next time, as always, be safe, take care of yourselves, and you stay breezy.